Hey everyone, before we get into this video with all these gems, I just wanted to let you know that we got a partnership with Epic Water Filters, which is a company that I actually buy from, and I completely believe in them. So use code HTPOD at the site and buy a water filter that actually filters your water. You could also get one of those portable water bottles. Wherever you are, you can filter that water that you put in there. So it's amazing. You can remove fluoride. The one that I got is the Epic Pure filter. They're actually based in Colorado. They seem to have really amazing intentions, and I really only want to be partnered with companies that have the same vision as me, and that's one of them. So I just want to let y'all know, please go get that for your own sake. You'll get 20% off, and that's more than they even offer on the site for signing up to their email list, which you still should probably sign up for their email list. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Hurtful Trxth Podcast. My name is Blake Phillips. My guest today, I met him on Twitter, actually. I think he followed me. I don't know, but his name is Jamie Brown, and he was only at like 100 followers on this account we're not going to name, and within 2 months, he got to over 40,000. So I just thought it was right to bring him on because he's financially free by the age of 30. I'm going to let him do the honors of explaining his story in a second, but yeah, he's an e-commerce business owner who made his way through Amazon FBA. So I guess go ahead and explain, introduce yourself how you'd like to be introduced, man.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, I'm Jamie, and I run an Amazon business. I actually sell not just on Amazon, but also other websites. And I never thought it was really possible. I didn't think it would work, to be honest, when I started. So yeah, I've been doing that about 8 years now, maybe 9 years. And I just really, if I can get other people to start their own online business or start selling online, I'm all for it. So hopefully this is of use to people.
Yes, sir. So it's really crazy that I even met you in the first place to me.
Yeah.
I was just on my path to financial freedom since I was young. I mean, I feel like I'm failing at 23 just because I'm not there. But the thing is, I already know that I'm about to be there. I know it's all part of the process. So what age did you actually become financially free, as you'd like to call it? And then actually define what you mean by financial freedom.
Yeah. It's first of all, it's kind of like actually a marketing thing for many people. They go, there's a whole movement on it called FIRE, which lots of people might have heard. Have you heard of it? FIRE,
FIRE?
Yeah, financially independent, retired early, FIRE. It's a whole sort of movement, and it means different things to different people. Yeah, what most people think you don't need tens of millions of dollars or pounds. I'm in the UK. You need to break it down and work out what you actually really need so that you don't need to worry about money again. And it is a lot easier than you might think. And I can explain how I came to this mindset, because I was like most people, and I was thinking, I need millions and millions of pounds I need million for a house, several million in the bank, and then you don't have to worry about money. It doesn't work like that. And that there's a reason why most lottery winners apparently often lose money. They're really bad at managing their money. So it's all about having the right mindset to manage money properly. And I just started reading books about it and trying to understand money and like what it means and how to use it and how it works. And I started with one book, and that really got me into creating an online business. And then since making my own money, I've been learning how to actually manage it properly. And most people just don't manage it in the right way. Whether you got a job or your own business, most people just don't understand money. So I've got loads of book recommendations which really help me, but there's probably like 2 or 3 over which I can recommend, which we can go into if you like. But yeah. Financial freedom, it's different to everyone else. I know what my kind of free life is, I've done it, I want other people to actually reach for the same goal, because it's easier than you think.
Yeah, and something about you that I like is you just do all this stuff out of just wanting to help people, because you don't even sell anything. I asked him,
Really?
for everyone, just so you know, I asked him what he sells. He doesn't even sell anything.
I
And
sell
he
stuff
reached
to
out to me.
people online on Amazon, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what he does. He'll sell things to people, but it's like whenever he's meeting people and everything, he's not really out here just trying to sell to you. You know, he's on this podcast just to actually help people. He's not out here just see. He's doing this under his own name, not even under his brand. He's not even going to tell you the name of his business. That's pretty respectable to me. So another thing I wanted to bring up is, do you agree with me? See, I'm not there yet, of course, but I feel like I'm very close. But
You're
do you
a
agree?
decade younger than me. I still feel
Yeah.
like I'm 23 as well, but
Oh yeah, what age was it that you said that you
2015 it was. So this was 3 years after university in England. I'd been working a job in London in consultancy, actually. You earn good money doing that. It's an office job with clients. But yeah, 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you at that time?
25.
Wow, that's pretty early still. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't even do that. So like, well, a lot of people just don't do it.
Yeah,
Not
most
even.
people don't. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. Because most people don't, there's less competition than you think to actually do these things. So
Yeah.
creating a niche online, like in Twitter or whatever it is, it's actually easier than you think, because most people don't do it. There's less competition at the top or at the peak or something than you think, because most people don't do it.
And you brought up niche. Is it niche or niche? Because I say it niche, but like everyone says it differently.
I say both. I guess I say more. But all the audio I listen to online, like there's a website called by Spencer Hortz, who's a guy who creates a lot of his online business stuff. His website's nichepursuits.com. And I used to listen to his podcast, and there's always niche, niche, niche. So we're like, yeah, niche.
I hear it so many different ways. I'm just gonna say niche. I don't know why, but yeah, that's what.
I prefer
What I was gonna say earlier, yeah. What I was gonna say earlier was like I feel like once you have enough knowledge about finances, it's almost impossible for you to go broke, because
totally. Yeah.
especially I was gonna ask you, do you like know a lot about taxes and how to avoid taxes, not illegally but legally?
You have to know your own tax code inside out. You have to.
That's crazy. You actually know.
Yeah.
So.
Now I've got an accountant, and when you have a business, you need an accountant. However, I know my business inside out. I know exactly what the taxes are in the UK, and you have to otherwise you don't know where your money's going.
Yeah.
So an example why you have to know the tax code, and yeah, obviously it's all, you've got to do it properly. You've got to do everything within the law, obviously, but you got to know the law inside out yourself. You can't just rely on an accountant. So, for example, one of the things I keep stressing is you've got to have your own business, and it's got to be set up as a business eventually, but just start out on your own. But you've got to incorporate your own business. So it's limited companies over here. You have sort of LLCs and whatever over in the States. That whatever structure is correct, set it up when you need down the line. But you just got to understand how these vehicles are taxed, because strangely, people who don't have their own business pay way more tax than people who own a business. So if you're a business earning £50,000 a year in the UK, you are taxed a lot less. If you own this business, you are taxed far less than if you are working for someone else and earning a salary of 50,000. I don't know why, but income tax in the UK, and I think it's similar as far as I know in America, and probably most places around the world. The people who are employed by other people, and they have in this country PAYE, pay as you earn tax slips, where they get their salary and the government takes the tax money off at source. You don't even see it, and then you get the rest. Those people pay way more than people who have a company.
You know why? You know why is actually because I actually know why, because have you ever heard of the book Tax-Free Wealth?
No.
Oh man, that is for me, that's the most, so far, like when it comes to finances, it's the most life-changing book I've read. I haven't finished it, but I've been trying to note down everything. I'm gonna read it over and over. It's like you can literally look up the audiobook online. It's Tax-Free Wealth by, isn't Robert Kiyosaki the guy that did Rich Dad Poor Dad?
That's right.
Well, this guy was mentored by him. His name's Tom
Okay.
Free. Yeah, Tom Free Wheelwright. So basically, this whole book, he explains the basis of like taxes and why they are that way, and then like, so it helps you understand
Yeah.
the biggest thing, the reason why the people that are employed are not getting as much off in their taxes is because people that own businesses are providing jobs. Whenever you're doing something that's helping the economy, whatever the government perceives as like to be helpful to the economy, that's what they're writing as in the tax code to help you. Because if you're buying real estate, for example, that's why you get such a big tax write-off, because real estate helps the economy basically run itself. So that's really the reason. It's really interesting. Taxes has been like a, what do you call it, a puzzle for me.
Yeah.
It feels like that is the way to have money. That if you can make your money come right back to you at the end of the year, then you're rich forever. And that's what the rich mean whenever they say, I get everything for free. They literally don't get sent everything for free. It's because they set up their taxes in such a way and their corporations in such a way that they're always getting their money back. And actually they're getting money they never even had in the first place off of tax depreciation.
Absolutely. You've said it exactly how it is. Yeah, you pay yourself before you're taxed. Whereas if you're employed, you're taxed and then you finally get the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to, I've kind of mentioned it a few times to you and other people, you got to live your life through a business. So your business owns everything legitimately. So, you need a phone and whatever to run a business. Your business needs to own that phone and it buys it for you. It gets all the different tax write-offs. So it gets the VAT, it gets the tax relief on it, and you got to set things up correctly. And so you need an accountant at the end of the day, but the most important thing really is just to get started, because you need to build your own business, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
You're gonna have to have income in order to even use the income for the tax. I guess I'll go into the next thing though, which is what you were going to talk about. What is the book that changed your life that you talk about? You told me that you haven't told me the exact book.
I came across it when it came out 10 years prior. So 2005-ish, it came out. And I came across it back in 2015. And I thought, oh yeah, that looked familiar. And I read it. And 6 months later, I had actually handed my notice in to my job and had started it. You asked me what the book is. Loads of people will have know this book. Some people hate it. Lots more people love it. It was The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. You've heard of Tim Ferriss?
I haven't.
Oh, you've got a rabbit hole to go down. Yeah, he's a really fascinating guy, and that book started it all for me.
What was the biggest takeaway from the book that made you realize, like, because you said it was the reason you quit your job? What was it that made you quit your job about it?
Yeah, so going back to that first question you asked, what is financial freedom? Well, that book helps you answer it. Basically, it's very practical. It gives you really practical advice. You got to break down. You got to decide what you want first, and then it gives you an acronym. Actually, it's like DEAL: definition, elimination, automation, and liberation. Yes, definition. You've got to define what you want first, and it gives you some tips about that. And you can be as wacky as you want, but at the end of the day, there's certain things that we all want. We want, a place to live, and we want enough money to afford certain basic things. And then there's some other things, like for me, it's traveling. I quite like traveling. So, what is all of this stuff? How much does it cost? And you break it down. And I did this exercise and I worked out it literally, to have whatever I wanted. I'm not joking. It was something like £32 a day. That's like $40 or something. Now, if you had more, of course you can do more, but it's about $1,000 a month, £1,000 a month is what I needed. And I go, okay, so how do I need to make 30 odd pounds a day on the internet? And when you break it down like that, 30 pounds is not much to make in one day online. So suddenly it feels achievable. So that was the exercise that the book really made me start thinking, I could do this actually. And then I started researching online businesses.
That's really incredible, actually.
Yeah, there's sort of spreadsheets and stuff. It points you in the direction of, but yeah, your TMI, your total monthly income. What do you actually need to achieve your dream life, your dream setup? It's not tens of millions in the bank.
Yeah, it's really the spread is that margin between your expenses and your income. That's all it is. And you just keep rising the margin.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, it gives you an example of if you want a Lamborghini or something. I can't remember what it is, what car, but it's like a Lamborghini or an Aston Martin. And you go online, it sort of gives you an example, and you research it. You can actually have one for like £600-700 a month if you want. So all of a sudden, okay, so it's only like it's like £48 a day or whatever it is for that car if you really want it. And then you go, do I really want that car? And you probably don't, but if you want it, you can have it. So yeah, it says don't hold back, really define what you want and then work out how to get there. And it gives you the steps to do it. I relentlessly followed those steps. I read the book 4 times over. My Kindle highlights are just nuts with all the things I highlighted. And I put my head down for 6 months. I tried and failed all loads of different things. I've actually got a list of them somewhere in like a journal of all these little ideas I tried. And one of them stuck. And I've done it ever since. And since then, I've built other things on top of that. So the main bit is actually Amazon FBA, which is selling physical products to people. So yeah, I've got 2 parts of a company now which do stuff on websites direct to people, and I've got an Amazon bit as well. And then from there, it's just repeating what works. It's doubling down what works.
Scaling,
yeah. So once you start, these things become a lot easier, and recognizing that is really, really enlightening.
And what was the thing that actually got you to pursue Amazon FBA in the first place? How did you find out about it? And then like what made you realize, all right, I want to do that?
Well, I'd been selling on my own website for must have been a year or so before I really thought I'm going to start Amazon. I first heard about it on Niche Pursuits or nichepursuits.com. Yeah, it's a guy called Spencer Hawes, and he just had a blog of him selling on Amazon. And he's in America, and I'll be totally honest. He had this product. I can barely remember what it was. It was I'll come back to it. And I thought, this is interesting. I bet there's not many people in the UK doing it. So I just copied the product. I bought a small test order. I sold them, and I sold out. I thought, okay, there's something to this. So from there, I actually started to develop my own products. And I now have about 30, 40 products, different SKUs, all in the sort of health, well-being, lifestyle, and home products area.
And how did you, for the viewers, like, how do you even go about creating your own product unless you don't, like, say what you're willing to say,
Yeah, I mean, so if anyone's thinking about starting on Amazon, it's good, but it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot harder now to start now than it was when I started. So how did I start? Well, I use software to find out what people wanted to buy on Amazon but weren't really getting, and it would it give you the search results page based on the keywords that they type in, and if they didn't match, there's a little bit of the market you can grab. And I started investigating bits of Amazon search results page like that using software. There's software out there called Jungle Scout and many other bits, and you try some products, you find what works, and you double down on the ones which do. I can give you some specific examples if you like, but this is very specific about starting on Amazon. I don't know how interested most people are about selling on Amazon, but this example could apply to lots of things. So for example, if you're trying to create a product to sell, it might be on Amazon, it might not be. It might be on your own website, you might use Shopify. You really want to double down and be specific what it is. So an example that has always stuck in my head is you don't want to sell dog food. By the way, don't sell food because there's so many regulatory issues. Don't sell any with food, medicine, batteries, ideally, moving parts, anything which is too big. It's got to fit in a shoebox. You want it to be simple and non-breakable. I've got lots of breakable products, but
this is the stuff they don't tell you on YouTube, man. Like,
yeah. So you want it to be nice and simple. Yeah. So you don't want to sell dog food. You want to sell, I don't know, Chihuahua dog food. That's better. How about organic Chihuahua dog food? Even better. So now what you do, you go into Amazon and you use the software to see how many people I generally look at the UK and the US, how many people a day are searching for dog food. Oh, it's like 2 million, too many people. Or Chihuahua dog food, 30,000 people a day. Okay. Organic Chihuahua dog food, 1,500 people a day search on Amazon, for example. Now that's a bit of the market you can get if you go and look yourself and you see there's no organic Chihuahua dog food. So all you need to go and do really, if we're just going to simplify it, is you need to go and create a product, in this case, organic Chihuahua dog food, and you will get in front of those 1,500 people.
But why? I want to explain to the other people they don't know. Why is it that you were looking for a small amount of people whenever most people are like, I'm going to go where there's a lot of people?
Because there's less competition where there's a smaller audience, believe it or not. The big audiences, people are fighting each other. You don't want to fight other competitors. You want to own that niche or that niche. Yeah, you want to own that search results page. Ideally, all 10 spots for organic Chihuahua dog food. Create different sizes, multi-packs, different flavors. Probably dogs don't care about flavor too much, but create different versions. If you're trying to get on the dog food results page, you're fighting hundreds, probably tens of thousands of other companies also selling dog food. It's a waste of time. You actually want to target a small proportion of the total search results. So if it's counterintuitive, yeah, it's counterintuitive, but you've got to do that. You'll be wasting your time and your money if you're targeting something too broad.
There's also the situation whenever it's too little people looking for the thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So you can use software to do these sorts of things. So you can put a filter on. You want minimum, say, 10 or 20 searches a day for something, and you want at most, say, a couple of thousand. So you're getting a good range. Yeah, if only 2 people a day are searching on average, it's not worth your time. There's no market for it. So you do want a market, but you want a small market, but not so small that it's virtually non-existent.
Well, how did you go about marketing the product? Was it just easy because it just happened naturally, or was it like you had to get creative?
First, I had to create it. So if I just talk about creating a product first, I mean, I just want people to start an online business. So you don't have to create a physical product, but there is something powerful about creating a physical product because it's something you actually hold in your hands. And I know out there it's so weird, but there are hundreds of thousands of people with my products all around the world in their house. It just sounds so weird. But
cool, man. That's so
it's
cool.
so weird, honestly. It's crazy. But yeah, you've got to make a product first. So I come on to marketing. Some people will ask, how on earth do I make a physical product? You can make virtual products. This is something I'm dabbling in with now a little bit. Like you're sort of doing it as well, with a podcast and with our Twitter accounts. Yeah, exactly. With your merch. Exactly.
I got this too, speaking of that, we'll plug it real quick. Hurtful Trxth with an X instead of the U in truth, man. Look it up on all platforms. I'll just plug it. We got exclusive stuff. So, I only make a certain amount of everything. And I'm going to definitely reward anyone that buys it early. Like at this point in my life, you're gonna get discounts in the future because it's eventually gonna be very high price. So anyway, continue what you were saying.
Well, no, I mean that's a good example. You got to assume it's not a virtual product. Anyone can create a virtual product. All you need is an internet connection, really. But if we're talking about a physical product for Amazon, especially, you've got to get it made. So you've got to find a manufacturer. I mean, depending what your product is, it's going to be tricky. So fortunately, I guess clothes is easier to make, and as long as you've got a good brand, you're going to do well. But I had some really tricky products to make, and you've got to find factories online, and you use Alibaba.com to do that, and you order some samples. And if anyone wants, if anyone decided one day to start on Amazon, I'll give you contact details at the end. I can tell you some of the details about how you go about finding these companies and how you order test samples and negotiate price and all that sort of thing. But you gotta find a product, manufacture it, change it so it's slightly different. So there's probably companies out there making organic dog food. We'll go, can I have a Chihuahua one, please? And they go, oh, I've not made one before. And you go, great. What can we do? Make it smaller, maybe smaller bits or something. I don't know. Now you've got your own product essentially built from scratch. Yeah. So you've got to think about it like that. Don't just buy an existing product, change it a bit. Maybe you add a handle on, you add a bit of padding, you add an opening up here instead of down there. You add a round bit rather than a square bit. I don't know. You just change it a bit. Ask them, can you stamp my brand on? And they'll go, yeah, we've got stamping machines. It's just normal to them. In China, they just make everything. Unfortunately, we don't make enough over here and America these days. But yeah, they can do anything. It's amazing. So much is made in China, India, some of these other countries over there, and they're very good at it.
It's so interesting, man, that you even found out about this, especially so early. How prominent, I mean, yeah, 2015. I just feel like there wasn't many people even really talking about e-commerce as much. It was kind of like, it was still happening, but it wasn't such a big deal like it is right now. It's like everyone's talking about drop shipping.
Yeah, I do a lot of drop shipping as well on my website. So I sell a lot of health and gym equipment. Mm-hmm. And some of these things are huge, but I don't touch them. I never have touched them.
Exactly. All you do is you're a middleman.
Yeah, I'm a retailer essentially. So yeah, I do a lot of drop shipping. But the beauty of Amazon is they do everything for you. They drop ship it, but they do customer service. They do absolutely everything. So it's
a trusted brand. This is something that a lot of people don't get. See, I tried drop shipping. The only reason why for me it didn't work, I didn't do enough. I could have put a lot of energy into just organic marketing, but it's a lot of work. But I didn't really have enough capital for it. But I'm gonna come back for it later. But I had a sustainable type of website. I think I had shown you that a while back. I don't know, but that was great. But that's the thing, is you have to have your brand be a trustworthy source. That's what it is. Because a lot of people, like for me, it was just hard to get people to even click on the website and go to the website because they didn't trust it. And there was not a lot of reviews to show for it and stuff like that. But with Amazon, you're leveraging a giant brand that everyone knows is trustworthy, and they know they got good customer service because they've been buying from Amazon. So whenever you got a product on Amazon, you're leveraging credibility. I also had built a TikTok account. One of the videos went crazy. The thing about that is the reason why that video went crazy and hit over 3.5 million now is because of the fact that I was leveraging the credibility of the person that I posted a video of. It was Jim Carrey, so they all were gonna watch it because they like Jim Carrey. So it's just use credibility that you have to show. That's the thing.
Yeah, people know and trust Amazon. 50 cents in every dollar is spent on Amazon online. It's probably more now. Yeah, Amazon is just the place to start. I sell on eBay as well and other places, but yeah, Amazon, people know it, and I use it every day.
It's really an amazing platform, and the fact that people can have Prime and get it shipped in 2 days almost every time, big deal.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing I wanted to say, what was the most drastic turning point in your entire life to you?
Oh yeah, it was back then when I handed in my notice for my job. I quit my job and I started selling stuff online, and all my friends at work, they were like, what are you doing? That just doesn't sound right. I agree. That doesn't sound right, but you know, I moved
Oh
across.
yeah.
I
That's
mhm.
crazy.
I
Well, I
ended
was gonna ask, what is the job? What was the job that you were working at? What did you do?
I was in consultancy, so I was
Okay, what were
helping big companies basically improve what they do. I was a customer engagement consultant, so normally helping companies who retail products to customers.
were you bored of it, or you just
No, I was in a really good company, great people, and no, I actually really liked it. But the only thing I didn't want to do was do that forever because I I I wanted to make my own time and my own life, and
yeah, you didn't want to be working for the man for the rest of your life, right?
I couldn't be doing that if 5 days a week I had to turn up at the same spot every day. I just didn't want to do it forever. I needed a change, a new challenge. I'd done pretty well with it, and I did like it, but I needed a new challenge. Yeah.
Hmm. What was the worst job you ever worked? Just to show people like where you can come from. It's just like,
You know
uh,
what? I've done a lot of internships and work experience, but I've only had one proper job for 3 years. Apart from that, I've been working for myself.
wow. So that
Yeah.
was it? That was the only job you had? The consulting?
I mean, I had small kind of internships and small jobs before, but I didn't call them career jobs. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in terms of like a big kind of career job, yeah. I've
Well,
only
in terms of just like a like cleaning toilets type of thing, like was there anything like that or just
yeah, it's more kind of admin-y stuff that I would just sit and do for all sorts of companies like polling companies, just all sorts like that. Stuff that you don't want to be doing for too long.
and did
Um,
you go to college?
yeah, so yeah, it's university, we call it. I studied at university for 3 years.
Yeah,
And
and
then
you're from South England, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then then I moved to London for about 3 years to work in consultancy. And then I moved away from London, where I'm now, to run my own business. And for a while, I was actually flying on the plane. I'd fly to London in the morning, work at my client for my job, and then I'd fly back at 5
What?
p.m. Yeah, and the UK is pretty small. Now in America, like you have domestic flights all the time. It's quite unusual to go on the domestic flight in the UK. Most people don't do it very often.
But it's
Um,
not normal for people to just do that and then come right back unless you're like
no,
a
it's really not normal. Yeah, that the flight was like half an hour. It
was
depends
that
which.
expensive and you were just making the money so much from it that it just didn't
No, I didn't
matter?
pay for it. The client paid for it. I was in consultancy, so clients would pay my company, who would pay me a much smaller amount of what they pay my company, and they would charge the client and bill the client. So for
Interesting. That's interesting. So what was your biggest failure on the way or multiple failures on the way up to where you're at?
let me get. I've not looked at this in a long time. I wrote a list. I'm sure. Um,
You
of
wrote a list of your failures?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's smart, actually. I wish more people would do that.
Let me have a look. I'm sure I wrote a list. Yeah. So, in fact, let me find the list. Just tell me how you decided to start your clothing brand.
Okay. I mean, this was drawn by my friend. His name is Red. That dude is one of my best friends of all time. Love that dude. And basically, we were hanging out. He would be in my shitty ass apartment back in Edmond, Oklahoma, whenever I was going to college. And he had a key and everything. He would come in there. At that, I had bed bugs, I had cockroaches, all types of stuff, and we would just draw. And just for fun, we were just drawing like cartoons, whatever. And then he drew this, and I was like, bro, that's the logo. Because I knew I wanted to do this ever since I was 18. I knew I wanted to do it even when I was younger. I knew I wanted to do it, but whenever I was 18, I was like, that's what I want to do. You know, that's the long story short. And another time I'll go into the rest of it, but I want to focus on you for sure.
Yeah, I wrote a whole list down. I add to it occasionally. I should remind myself to add more, but um, I started a guide on. Yeah, these are just some business ideas that I tried and felt I'll just pick up a couple of them. Yeah, I tried selling juicers, like blenders, at one stage. It's too messy. It's just, the market's just difficult. Oh yeah, I was trying to import handbags for
Is
women.
this while you were working that job?
Yeah. It was an overlap of about 6 months.
Did you start getting successful with one of them, or with the one that did start going up before you quit the job, or was it?
So that was towards the end, but these things I tried for about a month. There was overlap between all of these. I was importing like handbags from Morocco. I mean, it's a bit of an unusual thing. I created a guide of trying to get small businesses locally, so like bakers or shoe shops, to get them onto Google Maps, because so many businesses are just not on Google Maps. I thought, how can I charge to get them on there? I created some kind of guide for that. I built an app for Apple Watch to just come out at that stage, and there's no torch on it. And I thought, I'll just build a simple app. I built and sold this app to have a torch on your watch.
You built and sold an app?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta go into that. You gotta go into that a bit more, dude, because that's crazy.
Yeah, no, honestly, for my business in consultancy, I was on the functional side, but there's a lot of technical work as well of coding. But we had developers who did that. But I had a big understanding and appreciation of coding. So I was kind of into it and understood it. And I just dabbled in it myself, and I created an app, for Apple Watch on Xcode. Yeah.
That's interesting right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't thought about that in a long time. But if you can create a really big app, a really good app, it does one thing really simply, it's good.
Did you make money on it, or did it just not work? You said it was one of the biggest failures, but
okay, let me clarify that. These are not my biggest failures. These are just a long list of many small ones.
So what made that one a failure to you? Oh, my bad. It cut out what you said right there on my end.
I was just saying this is a long list of small failures, because I've had so many like little projects I've tried. Jumbo sticks, home gyms. Yes, I did a whole thing on specifically just gym equipment. Sound Demon for Airbnbs, so that you can tell that people aren't having parties there. There's so many little products and projects I started. This thing around windows, as in like windows you open. Crazy looking back at this list. So the first thing that you start is probably not going to be the thing that works unless you hit the jackpot. So you might have to try 30 things before you find a product that works. So that's totally normal. That's one.
I always talk about the butterfly effect of just how we end up to where we are anyway. It's really crazy how many different directions I have gone just to end up right where I'm at. And now it's like all those different things I learned, they all work together. And that's what makes me who I am now. And that's the craziest thing, is I wouldn't have it a different way. Because I now look at who I am and then look at who you are. It's pretty crazy.
And also on that note, I mean, you're 23, even my age, I'm about 10 years older. We are so young. We can both afford to mess up and start all over again. And we will be all right. We're fortunate to live in a society, I believe, in general, where most people are going to be all right if they hit the bottom. As long as you take ownership of it, you can get yourself up. I'm lucky where I wasn't born into poverty or anything. I was just normally well off. I was just like a middle class family, like millions of others in the UK. But there are people who have gone from absolutely nothing to the same place. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's up to you to make it work.
I mean, even Andrew Tate, who's a billionaire, I know now he's in jail for something he did allegedly, but just to say, like, you know, that dude, he was poor. He said he was dirt poor. He had nothing. And so people like that can end up becoming like the richest people. And the other thing is, it's crazy how much time you really have when you think about it. But at the same time, you have to work like you don't have much time.
That's well put. You've got so much time ahead of yourself when you're in your 20s and 30s. Like it's so young, seriously.
Yeah, and it's weird because like you don't think that's young, especially the younger you are, but the older you get, you realize how fast that time went. And then time goes by even faster because you have like just relative to what you've been through, that time is going by so fast. Right now, the time is going faster than it has. And I think as you get older, it's always going to be that way. The older you get, the faster time is.
Yeah,
and I've realized, like, yeah, like I've realized like these months are going by like weeks to me.
yeah. It's true. The older you go, the quicker time, the perception of time goes. I read a good book about how you can try to kind of counter that. I can't remember what it's called. I think it could be called controlling time. Actually, I can't remember. But yeah, it's about filling your life with more and new experiences. Keep on doing that because as soon as things become the same, time just disappears. So you've got to add new experiences, which is why I try to travel quite a lot.
That's my biggest goal in life, is really being able to travel and then also provide for people at the same time and do whatever I need to do. So yeah, I'm actually definitely on the way there. So the next thing is I wanted to go into real quick is your love life. Like I don't know if you want to talk about all that, but what advice do you have, and also what's your love life like, I guess.
I'm probably not someone qualified to talk about that. I did get married.
I think everyone has a qualification of being able to at least say their experiences. I think you can learn from anyone, to be honest.
I'm not someone who I'm married now.
Exactly. So you succeeded.
Yeah, I was never once someone who thought that, or I'll be honest, is that interested in a traditional white wedding. It just honestly, it just seems. I'm gonna be honest, it just seems really boring.
I think a lot of people feel that way. So
okay, yeah, okay, good. It did for me as well, and unfortunately, my wife agreed. Last year we got married in Las Vegas. While we're traveling through the whole of the bottom of America, actually, and that was a good day. That's the way to do it. I encourage people to take perceived wacky decisions like that, and just you don't have to do what society tells you. Whatever it is, you don't have to. You just make your own.
I love that.
And surprise people, confuse people. And I try to do both of those things as much as I can. If it's only even for my own entertainment, that's totally fine with me.
That's actually incredible. See, that's the thing. I just think anyone can have something to say that can help someone at least start the conversation. I think starting the conversations is the most important thing. That's what I guess you asked me what this podcast, the goal is. I think that's it. Yeah, it's finding the truth, but the way you do that is by sparking the conversations, because I am always open to arguments and stuff like that. So I love bringing it up. I just like to bring it up. So yeah. The last thing, the last main thing I wanted to talk about was, we don't have to name the Twitter account, of course, but like I said earlier in this podcast, he started a Twitter account that went to 40,000 in less than 2 months. I mean, it was crazy. I watched it grow so fast.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, I looked at his account. He followed me at 100. Like, he was at 112. I'm like, who is this guy? He just comes out of nowhere. And he's just in my DMs. We're talking, and he's a really nice person. And I see his content. He liked my content. And then we just, talk. And then all of a sudden, I check back. A few days later, he's at like 200. I didn't really notice. I'm like, was he always at 200? Yeah. And then I look back in another week, I think he hit already 2,000. Whenever I was showing him to one of my friends, I'm like, wait, what the hell? And then it just kept going. Like, all of a sudden he's at 40,000, maybe almost 50,000 now. I don't even know. I haven't looked. So I guess tell us what led you to even starting on Twitter, and then any Twitter growth tips.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Twitter was a brand new project, completely different from what I know and what I've done before. I'd been on Twitter as a consumer reading, and I use it daily. I use it to follow certain topics that I have to be on top of. I follow Tesla very, very closely. I've got a lot of money in Tesla. Too much of my money is in Tesla, but I understand that company inside out. Apple, I understand inside out, and I don't let it sit in the bank. I invest it in those companies, and I have to be on top of it. And I have to know exactly what's going on in those companies. And I use Twitter to do that. And I've done that for a long, long time. But I've never been tweeting myself. I thought, I don't know, it just feels weird. Who am I tweeting to? And like my friends at university, we used it a bit there, but I just never been using Twitter as a creator. So I thought, what's going on with what's that about? And then this was obviously around the time that Elon was going through the motions of buying Twitter and that whole drama. It's not great for a Tesla investor, but I think it will work out in the long run. And him owning Twitter made me think, okay, if Twitter was ever going to take off more than what it was, it would be now. It would be under his leadership.
Wow.
And that was a big decision in me. I've got to be honest. Him buying Twitter and saying, I think 1 in 7 on the planet could use Twitter at some point. I thought, okay, so that's 1 billion people, he said, could use Twitter. And I was thinking, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I also mentioned this to you. There's a lot of the world is on Twitter, but proportionally, you get a lot of people, not just in the UK, US, and Europe. You get a lot in Africa, Asia, throughout Asia as well. And I think it's just so accessible wherever you are. And the short form content is just so accessible to anyone, whatever language you speak, especially visual stuff, because visuals work really well on Twitter. So I thought, yeah, if 1 billion people can get on it, I could see that. Maybe I should get on Twitter now.
They even have the translate button, which is crazy because that kind of brings together the world, you know?
Yeah. I use that all the time. Sometimes I get weird replies and I tap to read it.
My favorite personally is the block button. I'm just joking, but
I've never blocked anyone, to be honest.
I know I'm just joking. I have had to do that whenever it comes to certain people, just like really weird, like stalking me type of thing. But other than that, like people I don't even know.
Yeah, you've got a personal brand. I decided to start an anonymous Twitter account, and for now I'm going to keep it like that because I think also there's a bit of mystery around it, and I can just speak honestly on it. So
it's crazy. That's one of the questions I actually had, and you know, even on my Twitter account that I'm talking about. No, I'm not even going to say it on this podcast, but it's obvious to me if you see it because it's my face. But it's a mixture of a personal brand and like, you know, whatever you call not a personal brand. My question for you was, do you think it's harder to grow on Twitter if you're not showing your face, or does it just depend on how you go about it?
I think, I'm going to be honest, in general, it's easier to grow if you're not showing your face. If you're showing your face, you have to do certain things. Otherwise, people are just going to look at this profile and go, who's this random person? And they won't follow you. If you're a brand around whatever it is, people are more likely to follow you because they understand what the brand is doing and what it's all about. If you're just a guy with your face on Twitter and you've got your name there, chances are you're not going to be followed. So the question becomes, how do you develop a brand around that individual? So there's things you've got to do, like you've got to put, if you want to have a personal brand, you've got to put your name, then put a line, and then put what you do. So it could be e-commerce expert, it could be copywriter, it could be graphic designer, it could be computer whiz, whatever you want to call it. Come up with a little tagline and put that in your name so people actually know what the account's about. And then you've got to structure the bio and have your header all around this idea of what the brand is, because if you're doing a personal brand, it can't actually just be about you. It's got to be about the thing that you're doing.
And I'd say the biggest thing is really just sparking curiosity, even if it is your face. If you can make it seem like there's more to your account than just, he's just using it for himself, you know. Or if you're doing what we know is helpful to grow, like we both know, interacting with other people, like commenting on other people's posts. If people keep seeing you in the same community over and over, talking and actually providing value, people are going to follow you as long as you're actually helping. they're going to follow you. So I've realized the biggest thing, find a way for them to feel like they should click on your account. Then whenever they do click on your account, make sure it looks like you're actually providing stuff.
Yeah.
It's something to help them.
Totally. You've got to have all the groundwork's done, because at the end of the day, you need to get people on your profile and then to actually click follow. So
yeah, it's like hook. It's like hook. You can't get people to watch your video if you don't have some reason for them to click it. And then it's like, yeah, it might have all this information, but if I don't show you what it's gonna help you with, you're not gonna click it.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of growth tips, if anyone wants more detail, I'm always happy to help people. I'll give out an email at the end, and if people can always get in contact. But yeah, I mean, basically, there's two things you've got to focus on, and really, one is to use networking correctly. And it's usually networking groups. There are networking groups around Twitter which you can use to grow your brand. And the second thing is, if you really want to grow quickly, you want bigger accounts to retweet you. That is actually how Twitter grows. That's how it works. You want bigger accounts to retweet you. There's countless ways of doing it. You can trade retweets. You can offer a service to get them. You can even buy them. And at the end of the day, you want bigger accounts to put your content out there. So
and that's why replies work so well. Yeah, that's why replies work so well, is because whenever you comment under them, a lot of people are clicking on their tweet. They see yours. And if it's actually providing something to the conversation, sometimes you'll even get a retweet from that big account. And then sometimes, even if you don't get that retweet, other people already saw it. And then they're like interested because they keep seeing you. And, if you have a conversation with those people, you end up actually becoming friends with some of those people that are bigger than you, which actually has happened for me. We actually have lined up a few different people that are much bigger than me that are going to be on the podcast, including you. So it's kind of crazy. You're the first one we actually are going to post. I've done them before, but I never posted them because I wanted them to be just right. I'm a perfectionist, and I've seen a lot of people say it's bad to be a perfectionist, but I disagree, because I think
I know what you mean.
yeah, because I think it's good to strive for perfection, but it's not good when it holds you back. Now, yeah, it might have technically stopped me from like posting them, but I'm glad I didn't, because I wanted it to come out the gate with straight value and credibility. And you are credibility, you have it. I don't have it fully yet, but I'm on the way. And it's like, I wanted to actually help people a lot. And I knew that if I have someone that actually they can trust because you have results, then, that why would people not be interested, So I guess I had 2 more questions, and then other than that, we can just say whatever we want until we're over. When did you consider yourself to be actually successful?
Successful.
And do you consider? Yeah, you probably do consider yourself successful, but some people don't consider themselves successful even at your point. So it's all subjective. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, it is also subjective. You've got the way to answer that question is you've got to be comfortable yourself with what you want and what you have. At the end of the day, I'm being honest, that I'm very lucky. I can't think of anything that I want that I don't have, to be honest. I don't want a boat or a plane. Now, if I really wanted a boat, would I work out a way to go and get one? Yeah, I would. I believe I would do that and would manage to get it. That's a good mindset to have. I encourage people to try to have that mindset, but I don't need a boat. So fortunately, I don't need 20 million to buy a yacht or whatever it is. So my success is living a free life of having the time to do whatever I want. I have little things that I wrote down in that little definition phase of working out what I want when I read the 4-Hour Work Week. There were things like, I don't want to be waken up by an alarm. I wanted to wake up naturally. If you have a job, you tend to use an alarm because you want not to be late. So yeah. I wrote down loads of little things like that, and I fortunately got to that position because I've built my own business where I can have my own time to myself whenever I want. I can be traveling and I can still run my business remotely. I've got lots of people doing all sorts of different aspects of the business and it all just works and it all just happens, and I
On
can just
autopilot, right?
yeah. And I specifically wanted a business like that so that I could have the time to do whatever I want. So for me, success is just having the time to do what I want when I want.
Well, it's freedom. For you, freedom is success. And that's, to me, I think genuinely it should be everyone's version of success, in my opinion. Yeah. So what would you tell a younger version of you, and what would you tell, I mean, just a young person in general in this day and age?
A younger version of me is, don't worry so much about the little things. Now, I'm sure that's something that most people have heard before, but let me try to make that useful in saying that there's a reason why everyone says this. It's because it's just so true. You don't need to worry about these little things. When you're going to be on your deathbed in 70 years or something, you're not going to think about these things which you used to worry about. Just don't worry about little things. And there's a whole long list of other little things I could rattle off. I'll give you one, which is you don't have to make money back the same way you lose it. I've got loads of little things in my head like this that I've picked up along the way. And that's quite a good example. If you try a project and it fails and it's cost you some money, perhaps you've got a product that you couldn't sell. You don't have to make that money back in the same way you lost it. Move on to the next thing and try something else.
Yes, that's true.
When you hit something which works, you'll know, and you'll be off from there, and you'll
Yeah,
forget.
it's funny whenever I tell people at a job or something, like, oh, what I do, like, I know that I'm gonna be a millionaire. They're like, oh, what do you do? What is it? It's like, I don't know which one's gonna blow up. I don't know. I just know that I just know something will, because I'm not gonna stop until one of them does, you know. So
That's a very good point. Yeah. And weirdly, too many people don't like talking about money, and it's kind of a taboo. In the UK and US culture, it's like you're not meant to, like politics, money. You don't really talk about it much. And
unless you're in my friend group, I talk about it constantly. That's all I like to talk about.
Right, they're the sort of friends you want, and there's not enough people out there like that. I've only got one or two friends who I will talk entirely freely about it, and we share.
Same here. Yeah.
And they're great people. They're the people you want to be around. I can tell you're one, obviously. I've not met you in person, but you are one.
Soon we will, man.
Yeah.
And you're in California right now, aren't you?
I'm off to California tomorrow.
Okay, so you're in England right now, or you said you're in America, I thought, right now, or no?
Tomorrow. I've got a plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
So
if only I could be there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm off to America, so yeah. One day.
Soon enough, man. We're gonna meet. When it comes down to those little things you were talking about, I also want to highlight one of my quotes. It's kind of opposite to what you said, but it's meant for a different reason. So I say the little things are the big things, but that's like other little things comparatively to what you're talking about. When you're talking about little things, what's a little thing? Give us another one. Like, what's a little thing that you shouldn't have worried about? Let's say in your life, you shouldn't have worried about it.
Okay. Say you've made I make a mistake, and you ship the customer the wrong item, and you've basically lost that item, and you've got to send them a replacement, and you've basically made a loss. And I'm like, oh, I'm $100 down because I've just stupidly wasted that product by, perhaps you were distracted or whatever. Don't worry about it. Move on. Make that $100 back another way by selling
somewhere else. Yeah, you don't have to go focus on that one person so hard that, like, in that one sale. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Things like that. It could be that. It could be domestic things like, I don't know, loading the dishwasher correctly. Everyone has different things where they stress about, and it just doesn't matter.
And it's funny because, like, simultaneously, like my quote, the little things are the big things. It's like at the same time, there's little things in your life that are actually way bigger than you expect them to be. Like little things like spending time with your family, spending time with your friends, little things such as you just saw that you woke up and saw the sunrise. It's just the freedom of you even waking up, having hot water. And then there's also the little moments of changing someone's life. I've realized So I'm just gonna be vulnerable, let the people know. Whenever I was 14, my brother had passed away. And so whenever I went to his funeral, I saw people come up there and tell stories about like the tiniest little things. There was like tiny things that changed their entire, like, I guess, mindset, or made them feel incredible. And it really did change their life in a way. And it helped them become who they are. So it's like, I realized from an early age that these tiny little moments every day are actually what are actually the most impactful things you do. And then it's also things like going to work every day, waking up and actually hammering out your tasks. It's just all this different stuff. It actually has an impact. So that was the other thing. That's really it. Other than that, yes, sir. So other than that, what's like, I guess the last thing is what is the best thing you bought that you think was like your favorite thing that you bought?
Are we talking about physical product? Like we're allowed to talk about favorite purchase, yeah?
Yeah. Favorite purchase.
Well, that's easy for me. Best thing I've ever bought was my car. Because it actually
What car you got, man?
I've got a Tesla.
Oh, hell yeah. Which one you got? I want to look it up. I'll probably know.
Yeah, it's Model 3. I was one of the first country to get it, yeah.
That's super sick, man. Yeah, I've always wanted a Tesla. Does it drive itself or not that one?
Yeah, it's got autopilot, but we're in UK, we are under heavy regulation, not like you guys in America, where you can actually, you've got a lot of freedom to do what you want in a good way. So our autopilot is heavily regulated about how much the wheel can turn on its own. It's crazy. You've got to be in the car within 6 feet to let it drive itself when you're not in there. Whereas in America, like I was 2 years ago, I got a friend who's got one, and we were having dinner. He got out and he come to me on his phone, and it literally drove around the parking lot and picked us up at the front.
What? I didn't even know you could do that.
They want you to be They want you to be in Bluetooth range because they don't trust anything, because they're obsessed with regulations here. And America's part of the regulatory body, but America rightly go, no, we make our own rules and regulations. We're going to ignore that. And that's why America has a lot of these great companies. You could not start a company like Tesla in the UK or in Europe. There's just so much regulation.
So would you can still have it driving itself if you're in the car?
Oh yeah, it's got autopilot, and that's brilliant. That's rock solid. It changes lanes by itself and stuff like that. But there's lots.
Is that not weird, dude? That it's like normal, and like that you're complaining about how it can't drive itself when you're not in it. Like nowadays, compared to like years ago, we would have been like, "What the?"
Yeah. It's still crazy. People who don't, it's just normal for me. But people who don't have one,
yeah, like I've never experienced that. I've never seen it with my own eyes. Like I've
have you not?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I am actually. That's something I want to get for sure. Well, yeah, man, I don't want to take too much of your time anymore because like we waited forever because I was trying to set it all up. So it usually works, but it didn't work today. So I appreciate you heavily, man. This is gonna be. It's forever gonna be one of the best podcasts I've ever done. I can tell just because it's amazing. But it's gonna be a hard. It's gonna be a hard choice, because all of them are gonna be incredible. That's how I feel. So. Like I said, I'm a perfectionist. I'm gonna always try to do my best to make sure it's amazing. So I appreciate you heavily for even actually reaching out to me in the first place.
Likewise,
glad to call you a friend, my man.
Thank you.
I'll end it there, and I'll let you end it. Technically, you're the host right now.
I'll do that. Thanks for having me on. And if anyone,
before we go, I wanted to say before we go, tell them your email you were gonna say, and then I'm gonna lastly plug anything you want, and I'll plug anything I want, and we're good. So
I'll do my bit. I don't have much to plug. You can buy my stuff on Amazon, but seriously, there's no point in doing that unless you want it. Look, I just want people to start an online business if they can, and anyone can. That's the truth of it. If you've got an internet connection and you've got the correct mindset for it, start. So read the 4 Hour Work Week, read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Do whatever you need to get to that state where you feel like, yes, I can do this, and actually just start, take action. So I encourage everyone to do that. If anyone's got any questions about how to start businesses around e-commerce, Amazon, FBA, or even now I've learned a lot, even how to make money on Twitter. I'm starting to monetize my account. I'm working out what to do with it, but how to grow and monetize a Twitter account, reach out. I'll happily point you in the right direction, give you some tips. I've got an email address I use for this sort of thing. You can email me, Jamie, and my email is thefbaboss@gmail.com. Nice and simple, an email address, that's all there is. So yeah, reach out, just say hi. Always happy to talk and just give people tips and point people in the right direction. I'm not particularly selling anything, but yeah, be nice to hear from like-minded people.
It's crazy to meet someone like that that's financially free and just trying to make more people financially free. It's really insane. So last thing I gotta say is some of my book recommendations, since he gave some. He said Rich Dad Poor Dad and 4 Hour Work Week. For me, The Secret was a life-changing book, like absolutely life-changing. Have you ever read that?
No, I've heard of it.
Absolutely, you got to read it, man. By Rhonda Byrne. Insane. It's the law of attraction, and it's stuff that I kind of was figuring out as I was growing older anyway, is that like if I just didn't worry about stuff as much, things ended up going way better in my life. But the biggest thing, this really highlights all the things that you need to do that helps you, because it's not saying you just get stuff without work, but it's manifestation of the things that all of your desires by just simply changing the way you talk and the way you think, and that it attracts into your life. So that's one of the biggest ones. Stop saying that you will do stuff and that you want to do something, and say that you are doing it. And whenever you say you are doing it, you just put it in the present. And that's one of the biggest takeaways I got out of it. The second book for me is The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, who you actually in your tweet had put a Robin Sharma quote. It was in the book that you were reading. Robin Sharma is a genius. That's one of the best books I've ever read. So other than that, I think, Tax-Free Wealth by Tom
Yes.
Yeah, so other than that, that's it. I just wanted to lay out a couple of gems at the end for everyone. Again, if you want some merchandise, I don't even have a website on purpose yet. That's on purpose. I've made one before, but the truth is I just wanted you to have to go through me. So you have to get it from me. So DM Hurtful Trxth until I have a website in the bio. Just DM Hurtful Trxth, X instead of the U in truth, and then I'll get you set up. I'll probably give you a discount anyway, because just tell me you're from the podcast and you watch the podcast, and I'll give you a little discount. So, all right. That's it, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Till next time.
No problem. Yes, sir.